Welcome back, everybody, and we've got a really fun show for you here today. We are talking Penguin Season 1 review. Connan has been signed on to be the next host for the Oscars. Sophie Turner has got herself a new role for a video game character. Lastly, we have a first look at Hiccup for the live-action How to Train Your Dragon. And lastly, we're talking about our favorite, worst, or best moments at the theaters. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to ReelTime RoundTable. We give you the best Hollywood news here on YouTube. I'm your co-host, Josh Williams.
I'm your co-host, Jordan Burke.
I'm Nolan.
And I'm Rudy.
It's good to have you two guys back on the panel with us here today. How was everyone's weekend?
It was good.
Yeah.
Did you guys do anything at all fun, or was it just boring?
I just went home, hung out, tried to watch the Lions game, couldn't.
Why could...
Look at the CBS map. They were only showing it in Michigan. Everywhere else was Ravens and Steelers, and that was a boring game.
I watched Cobra Kai Season 2. We're trying to get a review for that. Then I tried to watch the Tyson fight on Netflix.
Yeah.
Did you guys try to watch that at all?
Yeah,
I was gonna watch highlights.
You were able to watch it?
Yeah.
Because I was not able to watch it.
It was a rough watch, but we got through it. Lots of loading screens.
Yeah, literally, that's all it literally did the whole time for me was this little fucking load screen. How was your weekend?
It was good. Just hung out, went home,
Went home?
Yep.
Saw your family?
saw the fam.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. We ready to get into this? I'm excited to get into this review. So this past week, Penguin has finished up its season finale, and right now it sits at a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 92% audience rating. Also, what I want to note is that right now it just says series, like a limited series, which after the success of this show, I wonder if they're not going to change that to season and, just start up a new season. But we'll talk about that one. You see the trailer here. It finally finished up. Wow, what a ride. We'll get into our non-spoiler stuff first, but Jordan, we're going to start off with you. What do you think? Oh, man, she doesn't like it. I can see it on her face.
I want to say, I think it looks, visually, it looks amazing. I really like how it looks. I think the cast is kind of like too big for this show. Not like in a bad way, but I think they are all just so talented that putting them in a TV show is like interesting. I do think that. I think it's amazing cast-wise. I think there are parts of the story that are very intriguing. That being said, I've never really been a huge Gotham fan or just that world, so I wasn't extremely invested throughout the entire show. There were parts I was like, oh, that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I thought it was good.
It just wasn't your thing.
It wasn't my thing. I'm not a huge super fan.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. Overall, it was good.
I can see that, because it may not be someone's forte, because it is about a villain. It is a very human story, a very grounded story, much different than any superhero like shows you might check out here every once in a while. But for me, would you at least agree that as a story and characters, it's
good.
Yeah.
And I do like how it's a very dark story, and they do not hide from that. And there are parts where you're like, this is intense.
Yeah.
And I like that they kind of focus on how bad everyone is, and I do like that part of it.
With the exception of one person. And we'll get into that one person here eventually when our spoiler talk. But for you guys, let's start off with you. Let's go, Rudy. You saw this episode, and I'm guessing we've all seen The Batman, right? With Patrick Powell.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you think? But also, would you agree that this fits perfectly with, they match the tone of the Batman to this one?
Yes, I think that's one of my favorite things of it, because the Batman's Gotham, this world's Gotham it's my ideal Gotham. It is so dark and gloomy and messed up, and they do it in the most perfect way, especially with the cinematography. I love it.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree with the cinematography. It very much, they did a great job matching the cinematography of the Batman, because for me, continuity is everything. If you have a movie and all of a sudden you have a TV show that's supposed to be within that universe of the movie and it does not match the tone,
Yeah.
takes it away. Nolan, what about you? What did you think of the show?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think my favorite thing was just how alive Gotham was. I feel like recent incarnations of Batman stuff have kind of made a mistake, and they've just made Gotham a vehicle for Batman to exist in, if that makes sense. I think that the like '89, the Tim Burton Gotham was so alive and had so much character, and everything since then has just been kind of, this is New York. This is like New
a version
Jersey.
of Manhattan or something. Yeah.
But for this to just build so much on the Gotham that was so already so great in the Batman, it was just my favorite part. And there's also a lot of those minor Batman characters that were in this that I was like, oh, it's great to see, Sal Maroni or
No, there's lots of people that I was surprised to see. Salvatore, of course. Carmine was in there. Sophia Valcom, which she changes her name. We'll get to that here in a minute in spoiler talk. No, I agree. I thought the show delivered on all cylinders. I mean, one of the things I do love also is, yes, they gave Oz, played by Colin Farrell, some human they gave him some human characteristics, made you feel a little bit maybe for him, give him some moments of humanity. But at the end of the day, he is a hardcore evil villain, and they stick with that. Like, unlike Agatha, where she's tiptoeing, where she's a bad person or a good person, like she's towing that line. This one, there are parts of humanity of him, but no, he's a bad person. He is an evil person. I think the only person that was actually good in this was Vic, who was just a person in a bad situation that did what he had to do. And one thing I also really loved throughout this whole show is that you still, like, I only thought they would cover it in the beginning, but they really make you feel it throughout, is the aftermath of what happened from the Batman. Yeah. Like, where certain parts you see where certain neighborhoods just really ransacked and destroyed from all of that, and they still are not, some people are like without electricity and so on and so forth. That part to me really helped a lot. So now we got some spoiler talk out of the way. You can tell we really like it, but with that, we can't really go into this without going spoilers. So what we're going to do is, as long as Jordan is holding Genie, we're talking spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, mute your audio so you're not hearing us, and once she puts it back, then we're done. Okay? That's your warning. Here we go. I can't believe he killed Vic. I cannot believe he... I could believe it a little bit because it showed that, like, even with his mom, he showed, like, it was proven that whatever he cares about can consider a weakness towards him. Yeah. That could give advantage. At the same time, though, like, that surprised the heck out of me, and I really felt that moment. But, like, what was your guys' like when that happened? Did you expected it? Okay, so you expected it. You guys go ahead.
I absolutely. I could just tell from his character, the first time I saw him in his relationship with Oz, I was like, he is here to die. He is here to show how bad of a person Oz is. And I will say, as episodes went on, I'm like, wow, Oz is really bad. Like, they might have to come back with giving him some sort of good trait, and that'll be sticking with Vic and not killing him or doing anything. But no, they went all in, and that's like what I like. I liked it. It was a satisfying
I completely loved it, but my God, I don't know, for some reason I wasn't expecting it at the same time. I don't know how to explain it.
I definitely was expecting it. Just like as soon as he showed up, I was like, this guy's dying. Yeah. But to get into the nerd stuff that I'm always gonna get into on this show. Yeah. So Vic shows up and he's trying to steal the rims off the Penguin's car. If you're a Batman fan, you know this is a parallel to Jason Todd, who did the same thing to the Batmobile. Yep. That's Batman's second Robin, who dies at the hands of the Joker. Yep. So for the parallel to work, Victor's also got to die.
That makes sense.
There's also more parallels with just like the Robin thing, and so seeing him take the rims off the car, it's like, oh, that's a Robin parallel. Oh.
Did that surprise you, or anything else surprise you with the show?
That Vic died?
Yeah, or anything else?
No. I was I was more shocked how he died. I didn't expect him to just like
choke him
full
out.
on,
That was messed up.
just barehanded.
Yeah.
But it definitely kind of shows like he's not a good person.
Mm-hmm.
He is still a villain, and we have to kind of acknowledge that he's still a villain.
And it shocks me a little bit. Whoever wants to answer this one for me, the fact that he kills Vic, which I understand because he's removing weakness, but he doesn't kill Sophia. He has her arrested.
Yeah.
Put back in Arkham. Like, I don't know. And in the same vein, like, killing Vic, okay, cool. To me, the most morbid and like the cruelest thing was what he did to his mother. Like, after, she says, I hate you, and all this stuff.
So
and even when
crazy.
because she was supposed to, she made him promise that if her mind goes for her body, he would let her, do that. But then he still keeps her alive and puts her, like, out the window in a vegetative. It's like, that is cruel. Like, I don't know. Thoughts,
the
guys?
tears, the tears with like the stagnant face was awful. Just like, it's so evil, that frame of her looking over the city, and it shows like how narcissistic he really is. It's so bad.
Yeah. And in that same vein, like, did anybody find it just a little creepy when he had his Eve play his mother?
I found it more than just a little creepy, for sure. That was some weird Freudian stuff going on. But that character. So, do you watch stuff with subtitles on?
I do, and I think I know where you're going with this.
I think you do.
Go into
So,
it.
if you
I
watch
love
with
this part.
subtitles on, the character, her full name is Eve Carlo, and in the comics, because what am I going to talk about if it's not comics on this show? But Basil Carlo is Clayface, and Clayface was this actor who started to lose roles, and so he did this experiment thing, and then he could just kind of morph into other people. So if Eve is a Lady of the Night, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say on this show, but she's doing that and kind of morphing into other people, like how she did with Oz's mom. It's like, oh, is this the grounded version of Clayface
That would be
they're doing
interesting.
in this? I think it's cool possibility. I like Clayface a lot, but in this Gotham, I feel like that's kind of the only way that it would work, is
To
a character
ground
like
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
interesting for sure. Very gross, but interesting.
Extremely disturbing. What were some of the other parts that really stuck out to you guys over this season that was probably some of your favorite moments?
I would definitely say there was so many episodes out of it was just 8 that hit so hard, but the Sophia Falcone just whole episode to herself was beautiful. It was peak.
yeah.
And we got such a good perfect story right there, and it made the whole rest of the show just that much more enticing.
And again, it goes back to the humanizing of these villains. Like, you kind of feel for her a little bit, but then you
Yeah.
realize, okay, you do, and yes, quite a few people wronged her, especially her father, but she did blow up a whole neighborhood. Like, not just the catacombs, but there was buildings that people were in it that fell. She did quite a few other bad stuff, but go ahead, Nolan. You're like,
I
hold on.
forgive her.
You
So her acting performance was ridiculous. First episode, I was like, she's
love
getting an
her.
Emmy. First episode, she was getting an Emmy. Second episode, I was like, maybe I overreacted, and then the episode started, and I was like, I did not. She was incredible throughout this whole thing. She was terrifying, and then she was like funny, which that shift was crazy. Like, from her going to this like cold and calculated to this like having fun with being a villain. It was a cool dynamic just within the one character. And I feel like that's another thing the show did so well is everyone is so different from the beginning of the season to the end. And the way they look and the way they act, like all of it. Sophia, she even gets some of her Jersey accent back, which, well, how did they rehabilitate the Jersey out of her in Arkham? That place is evil.
That's a good question. That's a very good. And who was the friend of hers? The guy she falls in love with?
Dr.
Rush.
Scarecrow.
You think that's who that's gonna be?
I think so. There was a glove with like syringes on his desk.
Interesting.
And he's a creep.
Yeah.
So that
There was a
helps.
couple moments where I wondered if he was even real.
Yeah.
No, there's just a couple moments like when she was with him that I was just like, when everyone was getting like I guess shut up there when he was supposed to be there, and then all of a sudden he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Then also there's conversations with him and her that I wonder if maybe it was all in her head, but then again I don't know. I can't It's a theory. It's not nothing for me.
And then he gets reinstated at Gotham, Arkham.
Yeah,
at
out of
the end.
nowhere.
Who's giving him his medical license? But also, it is Arkham, so I could walk in and they would hire me.
What about you, Jordan? Anything that stuck out to you the most?
Were you guys surprised when the Batman symbol showed up? Because we've talked about it on the show if we think it's going to show up or not.
That's true. I wasn't, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a cool, framed shot, and it just reiterates because like everything. My theory was the reason that he never showed up in anything up until the bat signal came up, is because if you think about it, it's just mobsters killing mobsters. You know, killing one another. That's not something Batman should really mess himself with. But you know, I think it was like 2 weeks or so before the bat signal came up. That's when the neighborhood was destroyed by Sophia back home, where civilians were killed. So maybe that garnered his attention, which is why the bat signal came up.
Yeah.
Plus, it also just shows that he's still out there. You know what I mean? So I did love it though. I thought it was pretty sick. I didn't expect Robert Pattinson to show up, but I was hoping for something like that.
Yeah.
What you guys?
I feel like it would have taken away from the meaning of the show if he did show up. It's just not his story being told right now. But seeing that signal, I stood up and saluted. I always do.
I could just see you in your living room.
Yeah, that's my pledge of allegiance is the bat signal. But no, I was very excited.
Yeah.
I was very excited. I'm so ready for the second movie, man.
Oh no!
I'm
After
so ready.
after this ended, I was salivating for a part 2 of that. Like I'm just ready.
Crazy word to use. Yeah.
I was, man.
No,
I was
but I
like,
agree.
I was chomping at the bit. I'm ready for part 2. But also, it's not confirmed. But there are also rumors that the guy who plays Joker,
Barry Keoghan.
yeah, there's gonna be he's gonna get his own series. Not looking, not.
No,
We don't need
neither.
that.
I wouldn't like that.
No,
You
I
wouldn't
don't
like
care.
that, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm
Would you
not-
go for something like that? You think it's just because
Had it enough.
Joker's been around too much?
Yeah.
Well, that's part of it, and also,
Because like, have you guys seen the deleted scene with him in it?
yeah. I honestly think he's not the worst pick for Joker. I just kind of don't care right now about the Joker. I just want to see what else this Gotham has to offer.
Sir.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap up our thoughts here. All right. Spoiler talk's over. Let's just wrap up our thoughts, overall thoughts on the show and your rating.
I think it was constructed very well. Even though it wasn't necessarily my interest, I do think it was done beautifully. I think it kind of just ended where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. So even though it wasn't necessarily for me, I know a lot of other people loved it. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. You guys? You know?
I would probably give it like a 9.5 to 10. Honestly,
Okay.
If I'm probably gonna rewatch it before the second movie comes out, but like as of right now, it just came out, it's still on my mind every day. I'll probably give it a 10. Honestly, I think it was pretty perfect.
Awesome.
I would say 8.5 or a 9. I think this is exactly what I want to see in a villain film or show. I think this should be like the blueprint for those kind of movies.
Depending upon the tone, yes. Like,
Yeah.
depending upon what you're going for, I would totally agree with that.
The humanistic villains.
Yeah,
Give me a reason to why they're so evil
Yep.
and then show me it. Yeah.
I loved this show. I think it's not only one of the best comic book movies of the year, it's one of the best, not movies, shows of the year. It's one of the best shows of the year, period.
Yeah.
It's constructed so well. The acting, I mean, we didn't even talk about how brilliant Colin Farrell was as Oz. I mean, transformative, should get an Emmy nomination, honestly, for sure, if not a front runner, in my opinion. It's just so many great turns. And of course, yeah, Kristen Milotti, who played Sophia, was spectacular. I'm always rooting for her ever since How I Met Your Mother, when she made her debut as the mother. So anything she gets in, I'm always on board. I'm giving this a 9.5 as well. I think this show is incredible. I'm wondering if they're going to do a season 2 or not. We will see, because now, I mean, Penguin's the king of Gotham now. So we will see what goes on from there. So, all right, guys, what did you guys think of the Penguin? Leave your comments in the section below. Give us your positives, your negatives, and your score out of 10. All right, what's next for us, Jordan?
Conan O'Brien is set to host the 2025 Academy Awards. And I know when I first saw this, I was a little shocked and kind of like, that's an interesting choice. But I'm not extremely shocked anymore now that I've put a little thought into it. He's been around for decades. He's been in the business for a long time. I know he is also a comedian and a talk show host, so he does have that comedic experience that I feel like they're always trying to get with their hosts for the Oscars, which they've just grabbed, like, just straight comedians, and some of them have done good. Some of them, like last year, were not the best. They didn't hit the audience the best. I think because he also has that talk show experience, he knows how to engage with people. He knows how to engage with the crowd. I personally think this is a great choice after what happened last year. I think it's kind of just a good, no hate on
Jimmy Kimmel
on last year, but just in general, I think it's a decent choice. I'm not really mad about it anymore.
I'm not mad about it, but I'm one of those people. After between 2019 to 2021, there were 3 years where they didn't have a host at all. And I thought that was some of the best time of the Academy Awards when they did not have a host.
Really?
And they just had people come on, introduce things. Because, yeah, while the skits can be funny that the hosts do, like, little comedy sketches here and there and whatnot, it drags the show, in my opinion. So, like, the 2019 to 2021, to me, were, like, the best Oscars they had in a while. And then, of course, we had the Chris Rock incident that happened. Which I know, I take it back. 2021 was when Chris Rock was there, I believe. But, that whole incident that happened with all that, I just feel like, well, it's great that Conan O'Brien finally got his turn, because I don't think he's ever been a host.
I don't think so.
We'll see how he does. I know he can be a really funny guy. He's not necessarily my cup of tea as far as comedy, but he is. I know a lot of people find him hilarious. I just feel like the Oscars need to go away slowly from just not having a host anymore, because if for me, the award show flowed so much better. I don't know. What about you guys?
I think I really like Conan O'Brien. I think he's probably top 3 redheads of all time. I'm not like he doesn't make me laugh like crazy or anything, but he's, he feels like my friend when I watch him, and I think he'll do good. I'm not the biggest fan of the Oscars. I'm more into the funny skits and those little things. So
I just love the top 3 redheads.
Yeah, I like the red lights in the background too.
The Conan hair lights.
Yeah.
I like Conan too. I think his humor's pretty dry, which I think is interesting for a pick of a host. I feel like most of the time you think of someone who's going to be a little more electric and working with the crowd.
Yep.
I think that Conan's like the perfect late night host because he's so good at working with guests. Like, I don't know if you're a Norm Macdonald fan at all.
Yeah.
But like watching the clips of Norm on the Conan O'Brien show.
Yep.
Like, he just moves the jokes along perfectly. Like, he's so good at that. So I think if he works with, like, the presenters, if he works with them, it'll be really good because I think he's a great catalyst for comedy. But it'll be interesting to see him host. I'm really excited. I like him. I had an English teacher who sounded a lot like him in high school, so I was a big fan of his.
I guess one thing I've always been surprised at, I don't know why I think about this, but I always forget how tall he is.
Is he tall?
He's like 6.
He's super tall.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up because I know he's. I thought it was like 6'6" or something like that.
Dude, the Pistons need him.
Hold on, I'm excited for him to be on it. I guess I'm excited. I guess the best you can be.
He's excited.
A little bit, as much as you can be.
Got him.
Yeah, he's 6'7".
Dang.
He's 6'7"?
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
You're like, he's tall. I'm like, yeah, 6'2", 6'3", 6'7".
Nobody needs to be that tall.
No, I'm sorry. 6'5". I'm sorry, I looked up the wrong thing.
That's average.
Still, 6'5" is not bad. Hold on. Someone is touching a mic. Oh, we're touching a mic. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll try and be careful. That's our esteemed crew in the back there. We're messing up our microphones, probably making it back audio quality for you guys listening. We're sorry about that. We'll work better at it, promise. But anyway, what do you guys what are you guys expecting for him for this show? Like, expecting some comedy sketches? Are you expecting anything like just him stand up there and make jokes? Like, because you've seen some where like Neil Patrick Harris did like a bunch of musical numbers and
it was great.
Yeah,
and it was
awesome.
great. Chris Rock did his own comedy spiel, but like, what are you expecting from Conan for this one? Just to kind of have a sense of normalcy, or kind of do something crazy?
Well, like I was saying, I don't think that he's the type to, be up there and stand up and just make jokes the whole time. So I think it's gonna be something different. Like, yeah, but I don't know.
No, that's actually a good theory. I think he's not just gonna go like the straight normal comedic route and make it like not creative in any way, you know.
We'll see. What about you?
I really want to see him take jabs at just everybody there, because
Me
he's
too.
he's
Yeah.
really good at like nicely and politely and very humorously taking jabs at people to the point where you're kind of like, "Ah, I was just offended by Conan O'Brien. That's right." And I kind of want to just see him just start like calling out random people.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
Who's that English comedian?
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really gets in
He's
on
good.
people.
Yeah.
That's and when he
It's
does
not polite,
the Golden Globes, I think it is. Like whenever he hosts those, that's what he really. I listen to some of his jokes. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, he hosted the Oscars a few years ago, and it was just like, whoa.
Yo, yeah. He just doesn't
He
care.
hates being here.
Either way, we'll see how it turns out. I think the Oscars have been in April. Like now they moved it back so they can have more time to people to submit their award or their movies. But we'll see.
Interesting.
That's a good point. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool. Let us know what you guys think, if you're excited about Conan O'Brien hosting the Oscars, or if you're kind of with Josh and you think maybe they should just slowly get rid of a host. Do they even need a host? Let us know in the comments below.
They don't. All right, guys. Let's move on here to the next topic that I found very, very interesting. According to Variety, looks like Sophia Turner is going to be playing Lara Croft in an Amazon TV series. And by the way, like, kudos to Amazon for really buying some good IPs for TV shows, because my gosh, they're really like stacking their deck as far as like good TV shows as far as the IP goes. Now, Lord of the Rings, different story. I don't think that's a good show. But hearing this news, I'm gonna start with you, Nolan. Now we tried a couple of times. We've tried with
Angelina Jolie. Right?
Angelina Jolie, of course. Then we had another movie come out in the 2010s with ooh, I'm blanking on her name already.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, there's another one.
existed.
I'll look up here for. But hearing this news of Sophia Turner now being almost, it's pretty much confirmed now. They're finalizing, I guess, the contract. But hearing that, what are your anticipations for this?
I honestly don't know what to think. I've never played a Tomb Raider game. I've watched my dad play them. And I think that they're awesome games. Like, I think it could be really cool. I think there's a lot of potential for good storylines, a lot of potential for cool art direction as well, just like with the sets and the props and stuff that she's going to go, rating for. As far as Sophie Turner goes as an actress, the only thing that I've ever really seen her in is some of the newer X-Men movies. And I'm not a fan of most of those movies, but she's not like a bad part of them.
Yep.
So I think that it could be really good. I would say I'm excited for it. I'll probably watch it. But yeah, I don't know.
What about you, Jordan?
I am very excited for this. I think the fact that they're putting this into a TV show instead of a movie is
Smart.
a genius idea.
Very smart.
I feel like the last movies we've had haven't really worked, and maybe it's because it's a movie. Maybe they're trying to spread it out to get more depth, more story. I think that's genius. I'm also very excited for Sophie Turner. I think she has good range. She has a lot of experience, and I think she's just a little different than kind of our past knowledge of Lara Croft, and I think it's a really good pick.
Yeah, because I grew up playing the games quite a bit, and of course Angelina Jolie is very iconic in the role. I mean, she fits so well as far as if you know what the video game character looks like back then. But the other one they did was Alicia Vikander. She played in a 2018 movie of Tomb Raider, where they went they try to go more in the realm of the newer games that came out in 2010s of that type of Lara Croft. It looks like now, from what Sophia Turner looks like, they're trying to go back maybe to the originals. And yeah, I love it also for what it's doing for Sophia Turner, because yeah, she was in the X-Men movies, but she hasn't really done much except for those in Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones kind of typecast her a little bit. But would you agree with that? Like, are you excited because she's now getting something big like this? Or
I mean, I just don't know too much about how good of an actress she is, but I think I wasn't excited really to hear we're getting another Tomb Raider film, but I didn't know it was a show, and I think that's a great way to take it. I think that'll actually get me into it and might be the better way to take this franchise.
I agree, because the movies they've had before, especially if you just think about the Angelina Jolie ones, like, they're fun, but they're not great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've talked about it before. I've said it. I'm kind of a broken record with this. Certain IPs in video games, they do great as movies, and they do great as TV shows. Me, for this one, I think it'd be a great TV show. I've always thought that. Same with, like, again, Assassin's Creed. This one I'm excited for it because you can get a lot more depth with the character. I will say she's naturally blonde, so they'll probably have to color her hair. You know, because Tomb Raider Lara Croft always had brunette hair, and like it's very long. Like it always had like a braid to it.
Yeah.
It's very long. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't know, I'm very excited for this one because she's besides, Game of Thrones. The only thing she really had was the X-Men movies that really like stood out. So this is, I think, her chance to kind of get back into the acting business a little bit and maybe prove herself. Like some people who haven't seen Game of Thrones or anything like that she is a good actress, because she really is. Like if you have seen Game of Thrones, anybody out there, you know how good she is. As far as like Isaiah, they're putting up their thumbs too. She's an amazing actress. She's very subtle in some of her dramatic moments, and that's what I'm excited for the most. We'll see how it goes. All right, guys. Well, we didn't stick too long on this one, but it's just a kind of a theorizing of this one, but also just confirming what our thoughts on it. But what do you think of Sophie Turner playing Lara Croft in a new Tomb Raider Amazon TV series? Leave your comments in that section below and let us know your thoughts. What's next, boss?
We have our first image of Hiccup in the How to Train Your Dragon live action movie. And Rudy, I want to start with you. Have you seen the How to Train Your Dragon series?
Yes.
So what do you think about this image of Hiccup that we've seen versus kind of what we know about the shows or about the movies?
Well, I'm scared. Honestly, I'm scared because I don't have too much respect for just completely copying something, and the animated version I feel like is the medium that this series even needs to be in. I think it's cool. It can be live action. I'm excited to see it, but this picture right here is an exact replica, and I'd rather have like a rendition of it rather than a perfect story for story plot. It's just I'm not too excited after seeing that. But we haven't seen Toothless yet, so I kind of am waiting for that, and maybe then I'll change my mind.
Yeah. Nolan, what do you think?
I thought I saw a still of Toothless. I think one exists. It may not have been real. I may have been getting baited, but I don't think that almost any animated thing needs a live action remake, especially not this, because these movies, at least the first one, I haven't seen the second or third one in a while, but I'm pretty sure they're also great. The first movie is perfect, like completely perfect. There's no need to remake it, animated or not. That being said, if you look at that still, that is like a one-to-one recreation. That is pretty cool. If I saw that costume and it was like a cosplayer or like a Halloween costume or something, I would be like, that costume is perfect. That is awesome. So like since they are remaking it, and that's kind of something we can't avoid, I guess, since it's already happening, I'm glad it does look that good. Yeah, the colors are a little flat, but that's kind of a nitpick, so I don't know.
You just said it best. I looked at that and I saw a cosplay outfit. I did not see a movie quality. Yes, it's a shot for shot of it.
Yeah.
That to me is the problem.
Yeah.
Because yes, there's certain things you can go from animation to live action to make it seem, that could be seamless. But there's certain things, at least for me with this, that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with comic books. And when you see certain comic book costumes, and you're like, someone tries to do it in live action, look exactly the same as in your. Oof, no,
like
that looks. Yes, it does not fit. It sometimes it just does not look good, and for me, this actually worries me. For me, if they're because the guy who directing it is also the guy who directed the first movies, the movies for the animation.
Oh, weird.
And
why would he do that?
Again, that's the problem, because yes, certain things can work well for animation and look good, but not for live action. Yeah. It's totally different totally different ball game, and to me that just looks like someone dressing up as Hiccup and not actually Hiccup, and it actually worries me a little bit. It honestly does. And like even if you look at the background, it looks like a set. It doesn't feel like a Viking era place. You know what I mean? Yes, it's supposed to be a Disney DreamWorks live action. That doesn't. That's not the point.
It looks kind of like a theater production a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, since I don't care that much about it, I don't think it's that bad of a thing. Like I'm looking at it, it's like that's kind of I'm gonna stand by it. I think it looks.
And
I think it looks how it should for what this is. I think it looks how it should.
And that's, I mean, if you feel that way, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if anybody else agrees with me. It's just looking at that, it doesn't look. It looks like crap. Honestly, it to me it makes me look like the. Now, of course, this isn't a still image. Like we haven't seen a trailer.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Toothless. We haven't seen everything like that. So this could literally just be a quick behind-the-scenes shot. Or who knows? Or maybe it's directly from the film. If it's directly from the film, then yeah, I'm extremely worried. But if it's like a behind-the-scenes photo, that's fine because you can color grading. You can still do a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone disagrees with me. Everyone.
Addie said that she might have to fight you.
That's fine. I'm sorry. It does. I guess everyone in my crew completely disagrees with me, which is fine. I mean, do you agree with me a little bit?
Yeah.
Stand with me. Oh, see.
I'm not excited.
There's my co-host.
I think it does. Like Nolan said, it does look like spot on
it
1-to-1.
does. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Personally, I want a little bit more, just a little more like to it.
Yeah. It does look 1-to-1, but there's no reason for it to look like that. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like, there's no reason for the movie to exist at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I love the actor. If you haven't seen Black Phone that he's in,
I thought that's who that
awesome.
was.
Yeah, he is awesome. He's a great actor. Love him.
I think their cast overall is pretty good.
I would
They
say
have
so.
some spot on actors on here.
Yeah, I would say so. It's just, as a first image, not impressed.
Yeah.
At all.
Do you guys think, because we've talked a little bit how with animation you can do certain things that you can't really bring to life. Do you think by doing a live action How to Train Your Dragon is going to kind of kill the story a little bit? Because there's going to be some things they can't do. Like their whole Hiccups training, test flight, there's no way they're going to be able to replicate that.
I mean, they could. It's going to be a
That's
lot
going
of
to be a
CG.
lot.
And I'm not sure. You guys give your thoughts here while I look up the budget, but I don't. Okay, they don't even have a budget announced yet. So, I mean, depending upon the budget, they could. I mean, because it just depends upon the CG. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's certain things in that animation that were.
There's just some cool stuff in there that
Yeah.
is going to be a lot to have to
They
recreate.
need a high budget for this movie for me to really get into it, especially if they're gonna tell the exact same story. I don't know if that'll really capture me.
Yeah, because I mean, from what it looks like, if they're doing shot for shots like this, it seems like it'd probably just be. And I guess that's the other. I mean, would you guys agree that it's kind of the problem I have with Lion King live action?
Yes.
You're literally telling me the exact same story. Why don't I just watch through the
I've already seen
animation?
this,
I've already seen this. Give me something new and different. This is supposed to be a rendition, not a rendition. That's a homage to the cartoon or the animation, right? So. Okay, cool. I'll see it in live action, but at least I wanted something new out of it.
Have you seen Detective Pikachu?
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be kind of like that, where like the animation, it definitely has its own distinct style that's like half realistic, half not. And the way that the people interacted with the Pokemon in Detective Pikachu, it's like you do kind of have to suspend your disbelief for a while, but then it's like, okay, well, yeah, this guy's on the back of a Charizard. That's awesome. I don't care. It looks jank, but like it's gonna look jank because it's, and that's what I'm trying to say with this movie is like I'm not taking it too seriously. So like
Honestly,
if it looks weird when it looks weird, it's like, well, yeah.
That would actually make me really upset.
Yeah.
Because these are dragons. Dragons, I mean, in the world of fantasy, dragons can be dragons. You know what I mean? Pokemon are a completely different story.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not expecting like Game of Thrones looking like scary, but
Mean
like
dragons?
I want it to look like a dragon. You know what I'm saying? Like
interesting, okay.
the CG needs to be there for me, at least for me personally, to buy into it.
Okay.
So. All right, guys. What did you guys think of this first image of Hiccup? Are you agreeing with me and Jordan? Are you kind of disappointed and a little worried, or are you guys like the rest of my crew and these fine gentlemen over here, where you actually like it? Leave your comments in that section below and let us know your thoughts. I'm probably gonna get an earful after this.
Yeah, I felt the tension rise.
I know.
a little bit.
I think I saw Addie like look at me angry. Like I felt it.
Did you see the whiteboard?
No. What?
Isaiah had up the whiteboard that said Hiccup equals Nolan in Viking hat.
Oh my God!
do
It
it.
actually
Don't do
it
it.
does.
Yeah.
Okay, now we gotta buy a Viking hat, like all of us, and just like take a picture.
Thanks.
Good job, Isaiah. I did not even see it. What's our last thing, boss?
You tell me.
Me? Is it my turn? Okay. So, for our discussion of the week, we were kind of having trouble thinking of something, but I thought this would be a kind of a fun thing to talk about to kind of wrap up November, because next week's episode will be recorded, and me and Jordan are just gonna be talking about wrestling stuff next week. So to kind of wrap up November, we're going into Oscar season. I thought it would be fun to talk about our favorite, funniest, or worst experiences at the movie theater. Now that could be at the actual movie theater or a drive-in theater, doesn't matter. Who wants to go first? Whatever comes to your mind.
Drive-in theater. This summer, Sophie and I went to a few drive-ins, and we saw.
I love drive-ins.
I'm trying to think of what the other one. Oh, Minions 4 and If. And both of them were like pretty good, I guess. You know, not the best Despicable Me movie ever. And If was cute, but it wasn't like a, not like a great movie. But you know, it was a fun time just because we were at the drive-in. Anyway, at the end of it, the car would not turn on, and so both of us were like, "Oh." And it was like, there was like lightning in the distance, so like it hadn't started storming here yet, or like at the theater yet, but we were both like, we do not want to be here with a car that doesn't work and in like a thunderstorm. And at that point, it was, I think, a little past midnight, so I was like, do I call my dad? Like, what do I do? But then, thankfully, like, we just walked around for a minute, and then there was this worker sitting in like a lawn chair. They were like, car won't turn on. We're like, yeah, and they're like, all right, and they just like pulled this doohickey out of their pocket, and it was like, you've been watching us freak out this whole time, man. Like, where do you get off? This just help. There's no other reason that we would be walking around standing the way that we were if it wasn't that we needed help. And they were just watching the whole time.
Yeah, one rule to drive-in, if you're gonna have it like on, so you can have your, of course you gotta have your radio on so you can hear the audio. But sometimes, every once in a while, just turn it on.
Yeah.
For like 2 minutes. Turn off your headlights.
Yeah.
Let it run a little bit, because you're pretty much you're draining your battery. So your alternator.
And
recharge it.
We learned.
Do you ever? So that was your first time ever going to a drive-in?
No, that was like our fourth.
Okay. Do you guys ever bring like your own snacks in there, like?
All the time, yeah. It's the one in Independence, which is unfortunately closing.
Yeah, I hate that.
Twin drive-in.
Yeah.
And so we usually go to the High Boy first and get milkshakes.
Yeah, like every time we go, we get like a pizza, we get some beer, like just a bunch of different candies. Cause you'll buy some stuff at the drive-in theater concession stand, but it's not like
that concession stand is kind of sketch.
I
don't like going over
a little
there.
bit.
So I like bringing my snacks first, because I don't want to go over there.
What about you guys?
I actually don't really like drive-ins. I feel like I can't ever hear the volume.
Yes.
Someone's always ends up in front of me, and I want to scream at them, but I'm like, that's rude. I'm not going to do that.
It's always like some kids playing
I always
football.
have so much fun.
There's always someone's throwing something in front of your car. I'm too grumpy to go to a drive-in.
When I go to a drive-in, I go, like, I've already seen the movie. Like, if I want to go see and watch the movie, I go to the movie theaters. But if I'm going there to have fun with my friends, hang out, watch it, but like I've already seen it. You know, that's the reason I go to the drive-in. You know what I mean?
I did go once with a friend of mine. We watched Grease, and it was her first time seeing Grease.
Oh, that would be fun.
So it was kind of
at a
cool for her
drive-in.
to like experience how many people came and watched it, and then to like hear her, like she could hear other people like quoting the movie, and like everyone was singing. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't like drive-ins.
Do you have any other experiences at the theater or anything like that?
I don't go to the theater much, but aside from the movie that I saw, when I went and saw Madam Web, I went completely by myself, and the theater was completely empty. And it was so creepy, but I loved it. I just could, like, no one around. There was no distractions. I had the whole theater to myself. That was a cool experience.
So at my theater that sponsors me down in Clinton, anytime I go to a theater, like a movie there, and it's completely empty like that, like I take off my shoes, I have my phone, like, all, like, if I want to mess on my phone if I want to. A Joker 2 only had one person when you went. Only
That's
other one
pretty
person.
cool.
Oh, that would have been nice. And like you talk to the sometimes if I'm going to see a movie like by myself and I know it's like something I'm going to enjoy or something, I'll yell at the TV, I'll yell at the screen, like just by myself. Who's going to care? That's
a lot of fun.
Those are always kind of nice. What about you?
I haven't had any like crazy things happen at the theater before. I mean, I've been to the Menu, if you know what that is.
I love the Menu,
food horror one, yeah. I went there one night and I was just by myself at night at the theaters, and it was one of those, and they shut down all the concessions and stuff, but I have never been so hungry in a movie theater before. Like, I was just craving
dying.
food. I just wanted popcorn or something, but they were closed, and I was so...
That's bad timing for that movie.
it was bad. But that was a good one, too. I was just scared the entire time, so...
One of my favorite moments, honestly, for me was my childhood. Like, I had so the first movie I remember watching, and it was at the drive-in, was Mortal Kombat. It was the first time I ever saw a movie, like, period. Like, it's the first thing I can remember watching in the theater. And I just remember I went with my cousins, so I went with a couple of friends of mine, too, and we watched the movie, because my mom was, like, close enough where we can hear the audio from, like, everyone else's cars. And plus, back then, they actually had speakers that were they'd be there the whole time. So we were, like, mimicking the moves. Because, like, in the front, if in some drive-ins, they have, like, a playground area for kids to go and play and whatnot. So that's where we were watching it. We were, like, mimicking the moves. We were, like, acting like the characters. It was just one of those fun childhood moments for me that, like, I always will remember because it's a fun time. On the other hand, I think I've told most people this story. Probably my worst experience ever was when I first started doing movie reviews for my channel, for Real Time. One of the first movies I watched, it was alongside, because my first movie I ever reviewed was actually Star Wars Force Awakens. And then during that time, it was that January, a movie came out called Norm of the North with Rob Schneider. And I reviewed that in the theater. I have never had such a negative physical reaction to a movie in my life. I walked out, I felt my body was hurting, my head was pounding, and even there was only one other people in there. There was a mom and the kid, and even the kid, like, he was walking up and down the stairs, and I remember mom going, "Honey, you gonna sit down and watch the movie?" No, this movie sucks. And I was like, "You're right, kid. It really does." Because if a kid can't even like this movie, how can anybody? You know what I mean? Like, it was so bad. To me, we'll say it's probably one of the worst movies I've ever watched, experienced, period. Like,
that's the only movie I've ever walked out of before it ended.
You walked out of it?
Yeah, I did. I went to go see it with my grandpa. We walked out of the movie, and we almost got hit by a car on the way home. I thought that, it was like I was supposed to finish Norm of the North.
Hold on. Interactive audience at Insidious Last Key was very fun. Oh, like, what were they doing? Like, just, like, talking?
They were, like, reacting to the screen.
Like, they were reacting?
It was, like, one of the first screenings.
Oh, I love those. Like, I've never actually got to go to, like, a screening, like a test screening one where like, people are reacting to them. But you know what I mean? Like, it was like
Just the first
one of those first screenings of it where people are really into it. Yeah, I love those. Those are a lot of fun. I actually had that with Endgame. And I went and saw the very first screening. People were, like, hyped and, like, going at it.
Yeah.
Like, it was awesome. Grown men were crying.
Yeah. I worked at a movie theater. I worked at a movie theater when Endgame came out, so we watched it as a staff like 3 days early, and it ended at like 3 in the morning. We had to go to school the next day. But for like a day and a half, I was like the most powerful person. Anyone pissed me off, I could just be like, you know who dies? But we did that for Endgame, and we did that for No Way Home too. And it was the same thing where like we were up very late, and then we came to school the next day. When during No Way Home, when Daredevil shows up, I stood up on my chair. Like I was saying with the bat signal, I was like, oh my god. I was like, whenever the other Spider-Man showed up, I was like, yeah, okay. I knew that was gonna happen. But Daredevil showed up, I was like.
This just reminded me when you said that. So when I went to go see Star Wars Force Awakens, I didn't go to the very first screening. I went to like the second or third because like they were kind of back to back, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. I think I went to 7 o'clock, and there was like lines of people at this theater up in Des Moines. So one guy who came out of the very first screening, he literally yelled in the whole lobby, "Han Solo dies!" You have no idea how angry. Like, I thought there was gonna be some blows about to be thrown at this guy because this guy was like
There should have been.
public enemy number one.
Chaos.
It was about to be, and then because it kind of ruined it for them because he was serious about it. You could tell if somebody's like joking or serious.
Yeah.
But this guy was. You can tell he was serious and just spoiling for everybody to be that guy. But I always thought the fight was gonna break out. Any last more ones before we wrap up here?
Someone did that when I saw Infinity War.
Oh really?
Yeah, they said Han Solo dies, which like it was a joke that time, but I was like, okay, man, all right.
It's kind of funny though.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
And you got any more last ones before we wrap up? Good to go.
I will say, just one of my favorite things is about the movies right now is they're coming back with like 10-year anniversaries and just releasing old movies in theaters. That is the best thing.
I did that once in Des Moines. I saw The Wizard of Oz with my wife for the first time, like in the theater. such an amazing experience to have that. I loved every minute of that one.
Yeah.
That was a fun time. I would love to see more classics come out to go see in the theaters again. That'd be fun. Well, all right, folks, that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think of our show today? What is some of your favorite worst or funniest moments at the movie theater or drive-in? Leave your comments in the section below and let us know your thoughts. Also, if you like what you watched and you like what we provide, hit the like button, punch the subscribe channel button so you can see and receive more of our favorite content here on Red Digital. Of course, we have D&D when does it actually come out and release? Like
Fridays at 3. Not that I care.
It's a great story. I'm really into it right now as far as the storylines are going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. Time travel's involved. Bunch of different things. It's a great time. I'm excited for what this week's episode will bring. Also, we have Pastor the Professor with Jordan and Icarus.
And Addie and Leilani.
I apologize. You're right. I apologize. And, of course, we also have Cinema Sit Down for you here as well every other Tuesday. But that'll do it for today, folks. Thank you so much for everything. Subscribe to the channel if you can. We really enjoy everybody who's really been watching our content a lot lately. We really appreciate it. But that was for today. Again, I'm Josh Williams.
I'm Jordan Burke.
I'm Nolan.
I'm Rudy.
And thank you for keeping it real.
With ReelTime.
ReelTime.